All right. So yeah, I'm recording to this or to my computer. I think I'm out of
Wish you had
space.
recorded everything you just did, though. That
Yeah.
was gold. Oh, so yes. Um, the last I saw you, I was in the dungeon on my phone, and you were getting blend shapes figured out in Blender.
Yes, and debugging the nightmare issues that I was running into in the past with these things. I recorded a video on it, but I decided I'm actually going to split it into two separate videos, one that focuses only on the bug and another one that focuses on a very simple blend shape.
Nice, very nice.
And hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will be building my sound booth, hoping to have all the materials in before Christmas.
You should record that too. Show it as a time lapse. I think it'd be a really interesting thing, especially later on, because people love to know about streaming setups. So at one point, someone's going to be like, "Oh, what kind of setup do you have?" And then you'll have this really cool like time lapse of you building it.
Oh my God, cat. Oh. This is a side effect of having cats that want to like snuggle up with you all the time is they get gas. Okay, I have decided that when I get a sound booth constructed, that I am going to make sure that I have a good ventilation system. I was going to put a small one in there, but maybe I'll put a bigger one in there now.
It's gonna be so soundproof you could hear airplanes, but you also can't breathe.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at trying to get it about 80 decibels down. So that should be that's pretty top end for most sound booths, like certainly a home one.
I believe it. I believe it. What kind of material are you going to use for it?
I will show you in a second as soon as this sync is done, because I've designed this all in Unity. There it is.
What am I looking at here?
Okay.
Why am I on why like you're sharing, but you're not like on my dual monitor, my big screen for sharing is just my big head and not your window.
Yeah, actually, sorry. Yeah, I'm not sharing. This is my webcam view.
Oh, yeah. So
that's actually a good call. Anything that I do on this one for recording, it for from Zoom, it ends up being low res because they don't store high res webcam.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Let's do a share of this desktop. That's cool.
Oh, there we go.
Now you got the high res version.
Yeah.
However, I don't show up in it anymore, right?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I show up in the little tiny webcam view in the corner, which probably won't show up in the recording. Anyway. All right, so let's see. The hinge had an extra component on it. There it is. Hinge slider.
Oh.
So that's a pretty basic one. But yeah, I just designed a tool that ended up doing this. I can hide the setup. But I'm really liking Odin for this stuff, for just being able to create these things.
Odin, yeah.
Let's just switch it to there. Oh. Let's put that back. Okay, much better. Anyway, yeah, but the inside of it, so the sound booth on the inside, I'm planning on putting in the pyramid foam. But then underneath that, let's see if I can get this whole thing to work.
So I will tell you right now, before I truly realized what it was, I swore to God that it was a safe. Yeah, right? Like it looks like a large ass safe from a video game.
It does, until you see the inside is made of plywood. And you get to see the entire construction of it because I designed this nice little tool. It takes the order of everything that was constructed, everything with the renderer in the frame, and it puts it in an order, everything from this object down in the tree. So now, refresh list of renderers. There we go. I can start getting rid of stuff. So here's the some of the foam going away, another layer of foam. That right there is, so there's that's the soundproof foam, or the sound reflection foam. So the pyramid foam is designed to cut out the reflections and the echo from happening on the immediate basis.
Mhm.
Then this black material underneath it is called MLV, mass loaded vinyl. And it basically converts certain frequencies of sound into heat. So at a very minor level. So it wouldn't be something to necessarily have on the floor, but this room has a good ventilation system as well. And there's not going to be that much sound that is going to like bake the room. But the entire thing is wrapped with it on multiple layers. So then that goes away, and underneath another sheet of plywood. And then underneath there, this is, what was it? I'm going to click on it and cheat because on these ones, I don't actually have the material called out here. Well, that's no good. Wow, I don't have it on that one either. Where's my prefabs? Prefabs, batting. Oh, I don't have it. Okay, yeah, on most of these things, like when I want to find out what it is, like the MLV material, which I have that a typo in VL. I have over here a description of like, this is what it is. I can click to go to the URL.
Oh, wow.
And it shows me, here's the material that I'm using for it.
That's all. I know Unity was not made for this, but this is a very cool usage of it.
Yeah, very simple script. And I was like, okay, don't even bother creating a designer tool. Just use Unity's editor and just add some extra support tools to it. And now you've got an architectural tool.
Yeah.
So then back to the sound booth, I continue down the list. So that's this right, that gray foam was mineral wool. It's one of the higher quality sound insulation materials for houses. Also is going to keep the room exceptionally well temperature controlled.
Oh, okay, nice.
Okay, plywood for that shape, because this door is custom. I was trying to find a good solid door that I could put in here. And once you start getting the soundproof doors, they were getting really expensive. For what I've been studying on the sound materials on this and how much the different layers of dampening are going to do, a similar booth was going to be around $10,000 to $15,000, I believe.
Oh, what's this running?
And this one I think is going to run about maybe $1,000 in materials, maybe
Holy
a little
crap.
less. I'll have that done. I'll figure out the bill of sale at the end, or before I buy
it. that might be an optimistic estimate. Yeah, I have to say this could be a really good side hustle for you in the future if you decide to do it.
Yeah, so now I'm removing 2x4s from the top. So I've got a layer of top there, the insulation, the frame, and then below that, another layer of MLV and the siding. And then there was a 2x4 or a sheet of plywood in between that. And then here is more of the foam batting is another layer, but it's tucked inside. And then the side comes off. And one of the things that is happening on this is that this top layer is actually resting on here. So this whole thing I'm using, oh God, it's called like nutserts. It's basically a rivet for wood. So you can you can bolt in like pieces of plywood and 2x4. So this whole thing is, I'm designing it to be able to disassemble it and resize it.
Oh, that's incredible.
In fact, I did another step on it where basically this thing, I didn't design the door for the second part, or I've only designed it on paper for the second part, but the measurements are designed around two separate desks that I have. Right now I'm using a larger desk, which is, I've written it down somewhere, which, oh, there it is. Whatever it is, I think it was like 72 inches wide. Let's see, 71 inches wide.
Wow.
And the width of the tiny desk that I know can fit like the 40-inch 4K screen was 38 inches wide. So I've actually designed this to be able to fit the foam insulation, or the sound dampening pyramid foam, plus having with 2 inches of space and that desk, the 38-inch wide desk to fit the big screen in there. So I can do recording, have all the sampling. And then the sides are designed to be able to be removed And then my intention on this is that after I've done some with this stuff, I am planning on expanding out 2 of the walls on it to then make the long side of this, the 71-inch, the design to fit the desk, my current desk, the larger desk to fit in there, and actually have like 6 square feet of space around me for VR inside of the sound booth.
That's incredible. I think it's interesting. Like, this is a beautiful mock-up. There's no sense of scale. So in my mind, this was actually really tiny until you said that.
Oh, yeah, a sense of scale. That's a good idea. I should add a sense of scale to this. Let's see. I'll actually throw one in there right now. Let's go to.
Please tell me you have an accurate 3D model of you someplace.
I do not.
you know you have to now.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't have a full size model or picture of me since probably like a decade ago. Most everything is like this frame right here. Okay, so let's see. Books, publications profile. Oh yeah, I want resources. That one. Just give me a person standing. Background. Okay. Not quite what I had.
Yeah. No, I was thinking go for the third one, but that one works too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Pre-download and download. Not a robot. Ugh.
Hate these.
Log in. Every time I come back, you still have to do it. Okay. Yeah, that's a bridge. That's a bridge. No, that's not a bridge. Bridge. Sure. All right. Download. Okay, save image as, and that's going into projects, sound booth, assets, sound booth, textures, person, or what was that? Woman.
Oh,
Okay.
are you downloading Blender 3.0 also?
Yes.
Yeah, I just started downloading it myself.
Yeah, I saw the ad clip on it and I'm like, okay, I have to go get that.
Well, like, the difference between 2.79 and 2.8 was so immense, and now a 3.0 is out. I have to try it. But why is it downloading so incredibly slow?
I know. It's like 200 megs, and I've been downloading it for like 10 minutes before our call.
Yeah, it's jumping around now. I'm at a 55 minutes left. Are they just being slammed by people wanting to download this? Don't they
Oh
have
God, that could be
servers?
it.
Oh.
That is probably it. I'm at 73 megs.
That is incredible. That blows my mind.
Yeah, I'm on gigabit fiber right now, and there's no way that my speed is like that.
No way in hell. Like, I mean, I think I think we are too. We're not on fiber, but we got a gigabit through Xfinity.
Nice.
What's going on? What's like? Are there mirrors?
Is not what I meant. Okay, we're gonna put a let's see. Oh, I know. I'm gonna take a piece of MLV, Control D, we'll duplicate it and get it outside of the world. Okay, and I'm gonna change this to I'm gonna show you one of the other things that I created for this person. Okay, and this person's height will be 72 inches. Okay. Oh yeah, 72 inches. And the material, the width, I don't know, the texture was kind of off. Okay, Z is back, so that doesn't really matter. 0.1. And this one, I guess 42 inches wide might be good because there was transparency on the sides. Okay, I'm gonna take that over here. Now I'm gonna set the metric size. Oh, that put rotation in there too. Oh, no. That's right. This whole thing is messed up. So this was 72 this way because this is rotated. 0.1. Set metric size. There we go. And now I'm going to take, and she's upside down. All right, well, let's rotate as well. And let's go find the image and set it to transparent. Apply. Oh no, I thought that was transparent.
It was transparent.
Why is it not?
Asking the hard-hitting questions. I mean,
Is that-
originally it was
Oh, duh. I know why.
texture type.
It produced a default shader, a material the first time that I put it on there. And that material.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to this textures. It did not create a material here. I will. I wonder, I can do this with a shader. Right click on a material, or right click on the shader and produce a material, and it produces it with that shader.
Oh, really?
Can I do this on a texture and it puts it in the albedo?
Nope.
Woman. Okay. We're adding a woman to this for comparison on size. Let's put her here and set this to transparent or cutout. There we go. All right. Now let's drag this material there. Much better. Okay. So there. Yeah, that's about accurate. I made this 6 feet tall, so it's like 1 inch taller than me.
That feels like, maybe it's just me being claustrophobic, but I feel like there's something here that's going to break your controller. Like you're gonna be playing Beat Saber, and this is gonna end badly.
Oh yeah, well with this one, when I actually like, I'm not going to be doing VR in this one. I'm going to be doing desk VR only, where I have the headset on and just sitting here, which right now my hand already like hits a speaker when I do that. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there's the person for comparison.
This feels like a really, really fancy, like Renaissance art exhibit / pretentious art piece. The soundproof room with the maiden escaping.
Okay. Oh yeah. Sound booth was last thing. There it is. So on this one.
That's so cool. So the order in which that's happening, is that automatic, or did you actually place it in order to do that?
I had to place it in this order, not in the list. Like this just grabs a list, but it bases it off of the order from here. So
Okay.
I ended up finding myself like rearranging this sound booth, so that all these items, like I would put the 2x4s in order. So as I'm like building it up, I see like the materials in the order of the way that I'm seeing it from this angle.
All right, that's cool.
And then there's the MLV, plywood goes on there, 2x4s on the outer frame first, and then the inside framing, and then the insulation material. Oh, that's backwards right there. Oh, I guess I'm dragging it a little too fast, but whatever. Yeah, the whole thing, you kind of see the whole thing break down into like layers. Like there's 3 layers of mineral wool insulation in here. It's almost 12-inch thick walls. That was one of the big differences on like the $10,000 plus sound booths over the one I'm building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay that the wall is not going to be just like 2 inches thick or 4 inches thick.
Yeah.
So I'm building this in a garage. I just don't want a dump truck or a garbage truck overpowering this. Oh yeah, and the floor, like the floor that's there. So the frame builds up. I wasn't going to put any insulation on the bottom, but it wouldn't be tough. This I'm not actually going to bolt into anything. Like
really?
the wall, the individual pieces, like the 2x4s, as it builds up the frame for the floor, the support. That one, oh yeah, I also put in minus and plus buttons so I could just build it up by one piece at a time.
Nice.
So this one is hollow because it's concrete. It's like at least 6 inches of concrete beneath me. So it's not much sound that's going to come from there. So I just put the basics air insulation and rose it up a little bit. So I have the 2x4 frame. This is just going to be like screwed together. And then on top of that, the plywood, I could still raise this up later. And then a sheet of MLV over the plywood. And then on this one, a carpet, which go to URL. This is the carpet I picked, and I'll just take this one and cut a tiny amount off the sides so it fits, but it's almost an exact fit.
Oh,
So
with that texture as is, I swore from a distance I thought you were putting marble down. Which I thought would have defeated the purpose, but it would have made it very fancy.
Actually, that's a good question. Marble is a very soft stone. That might actually dampen sound by itself. I have my doubts. Okay, it would be very echoey from that, but
yeah,
I'm not going to put marble on
you would have the fanciest sound booth, but I don't think I want to push you from the $100 rug to whatever marble costs to lay down.
Yeah, I just wanted to get something on here that was what was the thing? I forget the term for it, but there was a specific term for this one, a low pile rug, something where I can actually it does. Low pile means it's very thin, but at the same time, like it's very puffy. So it's kind of it's a solid strength material that I can roll a chair over with wheels.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so I wanted to get that, but then still have some sound dampening qualities by itself. Whoa. Wait,
what?
What
is it? What? oh,
this it's a cube.
Trippy.
This is being applied to a cube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but to get the sizes on this stuff, like how I said like 70, I wanted this 72 inches tall or whatever. Oh, that's 75 inches. I think I gave it a little extra space at the top. Oh yeah, that was another thing. So I wanted to make sure that it had space for me to fit in, and that was with some buffer on the floor. So in this one, it's got about 3 inches of buffer on the floor. And then I also needed to make sure it was going to fit in, because I have a garage right now, but if I move, like if I get a really great opportunity over in like Germany or something, my family, like my whole family has been excited about the idea of like moving over to Germany or somewhere in Europe. I wanted to make sure that the sound booth could actually fit into another location. That one, I could disassemble it so I could move it easily. And two, so that I could fit it into an 8-foot ceiling area and still have a little space on the top to be able to actually put the top in place.
Nice.
So I wanted it to be no more than about 7.5 feet tall.
Now, total time spent, how long do you, once you have your mock-up and everything, how long do you think it'll take for you to actually construct it once it just comes down to materials and labor?
So the biggest problem that I run into on construction is making sure that I have the full plan of everything designed out beforehand, because I almost always find little problems along the way where it's like, oh, I don't have the right tool for that part. And so, or, I don't have all the materials I needed for this, or that shape for the end of the thing, the wood that I'm working with, it doesn't quite fit right. And so because I kind of like, I would wing a lot of these projects. So this one I've been designing in full for like every part of it and like doing research on it to make sure it's all going to be good along those lines.
Yeah.
But I would say the wood framing, like one of the only things I'm concerned with is like, it's really hard to get 2x4s that actually line up, that are like actually straight. That is incredibly difficult. Actually, I take that back. I usually find the cheapest 2x4s I can find at like Home Depot, but
there's a correlation there for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a look at that, and I'll try to figure out a way or get some advice on getting materials that are more accurate. But as long as the numbers are okay on this, I would assume I could get done with the majority of it, like all the stuff that I put here, within a weekend, like not the lights or the electrical running or the vent. Those are separate parts of this.
But still, a weekend turnaround to get the main body done is really impressive.
Yeah, I'm assuming about maybe 12 to 16 hours. Yeah, because the wood, I mean, I've got a miter saw for the base stuff. There's some stuff that I have to pick up for the rivets. Like I don't have a riveting tool, but that is, it certainly exists. It's only like 80 bucks, but I want to do a little research and make sure I pick up a good one. I don't want to pick up one where it's there's ones where it's like you're working with your hands and you have to like push the riveting tool and that kind of drills in the little spot where the rivet goes out, and then it also plunges in the actual rivet piece. And you can get that for like under 100 bucks, but I'd be worried that I'd be doing that, and after like the first three of them, it's like, oh my god, my arms are sore. This is a horrible tool to use. But it's also a couple $100 to get like what are them I'm looking at is like a reasonable electric one.
Yeah, but that again, that but at least that would be like a longer term investment for future projects like this, right?
Yeah. And I'm also figuring that like once I assemble the pieces, like I'm going to start assembling it. Like I'll cut out the piece. First thing I'm going to build is going to be this bottom frame. Like this is actually pretty much matches the order, except for the fact that I'm going to have the walls reversed. So let's see, rear wall. I'd be doing oh yeah, no. I have to do two side walls with this. The way that I designed this, one of the things where sound comes through when you're designing like a sound room or soundproof rooms is you actually put like a 2x4, for instance, between the layers of drywall, and that acts as a direct conduit for sound to travel through.
Okay.
So you get rid of a lot of the sound through drywall. You get rid of, I think it was like between 10 and 15 decibels of sound through drywall, and that's different frequencies. But so after 2 layers of drywall, you've cut back a lot, but you're still getting some of that sound coming through the 2x4. So when they're designing places and they're putting in like ceilings, when you want sound dampening on your ceilings, they actually put in like this special metal piece. I can't remember what it's called, but it attaches to the beams, and then also attaches to the ceiling materials, but at a different spot, and is a little bit bendable and flexible. So it gets rid of a lot of the sound connection. So when I designed this, the majority of it has no solid connections to the outside. So if I put this back, let's just go back to sound booth. It's not a great place to be for that. I'm on the outside. There we go. So you can see over here, I have, this is the outer frame. Then there's the inner frame. And then there's an entire layer of insulation that goes in between them.
Yeah.
So there's no board supporting this. So on this part has to be flush. Like they're connecting up, it's basically producing a box, and that isn't necessarily that structurally sound. Yes. So what did I brought up the serialization debugger. Go back to sound booth, and then over here, let's bring up the top. So the frame is getting built out along these sides. And I've got the layer of insulation there. There. This part of the frame needs to get bolted in as well. So this part of the frame doesn't attach to the outside directly. It goes
the box inside of a box.
Yeah, but there's actually a layer of MLV here, and my intention is to wrap the MLV along the side of the plywood as well, so it's not a direct connection from the plywood to the 2x4 over here.
Yeah.
And then moving to the outside, I build that up, and then the whole thing on top of that gets another frame. So the outside frame is also getting reinforced for its structure, so it doesn't like want to wobble around and bounce. So my next goal on this is to go over this design with I have a general contractor person who's been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, not this specific design, but they're going to go over it with me and take a look at, did I design any parts in here where it's like, oh, don't do it like that, idiot. Come and get padded up first.
I look forward to you showing him this in Unity.
Yeah,
you could technically do a build, put on some like controls on it, and you could flip through it on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So a couple scripts that I did for this one.
mm-hmm.
First off, I don't know if do you know about vertices snapping in Unity?
Yes.
Okay. I did not know about that until like 3 weeks ago.
I showed that my friend Hannah, she's been doing the tutorial on the kart racing thing, and
Yeah.
I let her go for like a week and a half before I was like, oh yeah, if you hold down this button and do this, it snaps points together. And she was like, that would have saved me so much trouble. But I was like, yes, now you appreciate it.
For the longest time, I looked at Unity and it was like, okay, this is really fun to develop in as a programmer, but anytime I've tried to design worlds and levels with it, it was horrible. It's like, how do I get things to line up? It's like, okay, I got to know the numbers of everything. Oh my God, this is awful. And then I'm like, yeah, this is so I developed all this stuff and now I want a designer to come in and work on the level design. It's like someone who's comfortable working with that. And then I found out about that and I'm like, oh my God.
Enjoys playing with those numbers.
Yeah. And I don't have the script in here right now, but I actually hired someone to write a script for me. Like I designed how it would work and then passed out the job request. To get someone else to take the time to go through it because I figured I might be able to get it done in 4 hours, but any complication along the way, and I'm just running into more space, but I wanted the opposite of the vertices snap. So when I take a piece of wood from here, let's say this MLV sheet that's on here. Let's reduce that down, much better. A little bit, maybe not that fast. Okay. No, there. Okay. Adjusting the speeds. Okay, so I've got a piece of plywood here and I've got this here, so I can do the vertices snap. I can hold on to like this edge and I can drag it somewhere else, so it's like over there.
Yeah.
Or
are you
drag it back to that.
Am I going up?
Who's calling me? No, not right now. Okay. But then how do you get the bottom to line up?
Oh, well,
I could zoom in and do the work, but it's a manual guess. Especially if it comes from two different models that could have two different scales coming into the system entirely, which is also the case for some of the pyramid foam.
Yeah.
So on this one, I end up, why is this like this? Global. Oh my God, that affected this. I did not expect that to affect it. Okay. Yeah, so that's off and I have to like manually adjust it. Anyway, so I put a script request out there and paid someone to build it. I actually got two things where I hired someone and then another person ended up giving me the code that they built, and the person who gave me the copy of their code did an even better job.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, no offense. I mean, against the people or the first person who did this, he made a working version. He didn't do everything that exactly as I requested, but it was pretty close. But the idea was that this other side, as long as there was another material or something blocking it, like I could just basically drop another cube here, vertices snap it to like one of these edges. Hi, Mario. And then I could line up this other tool with it. Now, I didn't end up putting that in because I had the sound booth just about done at that point. So I'm just going to leave that there. Oh, yeah. And I've got another little glitch right here where that size is not fully lined up. Anyway. Hi. But everything in here, like all the plywood and stuff like that, stop it, claws. Hi, Mario. Okay.
oh, good. The real star of the show is here. I can stop listening to you now.
Yes, he's making a fashionably late entrance. Okay. I don't even remember what I was talking about before I was attacked.
There was a gap. There was a gap.
Oh, yeah.
You just noticed, and And then the screaming and the pain.
Yeah, so between vertices snapping and that, like any parts that I need to redevelop, I'm going to move that script in to do it. Yeah, so, oh yeah, then there's this one. This is a really surprisingly useful tool for doing like architectural design.
Mhm.
I take in the model of something. And so like if I take this plywood, let's see, get metric. Okay, yeah, there. It takes the size, like it right now it's assuming 111 for the scale that this is, that the original cube size was 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter.
Mhm.
And then converts it to inches, or takes the meter size that I have up here to inches. So if I wanted to change this, like right now it's at 88 inches tall. Wait, is that 80? Yeah. So that's 88 inches tall and 66 inches wide. I could change this down here to like 70 and then set metric size. And now it scales it.
That's fantastic.
So I know I have a 70-inch setup over there. Now, what did I have? 88, I think.
Yeah, it was like 88.
Yeah.
0.000008 or something. Yeah, like how many, I can't tell you how many times I've messed with scale and everything and trying to get replicas of like a 6 foot whatever figure. That size script does all of that.
Yeah. I was this, I mean, there were very few things I needed to make this work well. And one thing is I needed to make sure I had the right sizes for stuff. And so I just put this script in here, and on most cases, all I'm doing is just stretching a cube out. So I take one, like I created a prefab for a 2x4 for the batting material. I can expand that out. For the carpet, for the concrete floor, for the MLV, which are dark, so you can't really see them here, plywood, etc. And then I can just drag the plywood in. Like the plywood is already the size that you're going to get, like 48 by 96 inches and 3/4 inch thick. And so from that point, I just take this and minimize it. The MLV only comes in strips that are like 32 inches wide, or some size like that, 24-inch wide. But the material ends up getting glued onto the walls. So that didn't really matter to me if I didn't get the exact sizes right on here, because this one I can just cut to the size that I need very easily. If I did the wrong sizes on the plywood, then when I'm lining it up with the 2x4s, I wouldn't the design wouldn't necessarily work. I might have like the corner of the plywood coming in contact with absolutely nothing for support behind it. So anyway, there's a review of my sound booth design.
I didn't know this is what I was coming in here for, but I'm glad I did anyway. This is awesome. I love it. I love the fact that you again, anyone who thinks this is just a game engine, I'm like, no, it's a tool for doing things. You could do all this stuff, and this is just another example. You've used it as an architectural mock-up tool.
Yeah, and the code that I put into this is incredibly small. Like this one looks big because of all these fields right here, but that's just setup. So I can say, okay, what is the point that I'm going to rotate this stuff on? So here's the pivot point, the hinge. And then which axis am I going to rotate it on? And I can choose like none. I can choose X, Z. I can choose to rotate on all of them at the same time, but I just want Y. These are the ranges. So I can actually just like drag this around to get the different sizes that I want to say what ranges, but that was -90 to +90. And then the tool just works or doesn't work at the moment. Why did it stop working? Oh, yeah, it's not going to work at the moment. I need Y selected, none, and then a Y there.
Okay, so the pivot point itself, what are you doing to cause it to pivot on the corner like that? I have an idea. I just want to know for sure.
So on this one, I've got the hinge that sits over here on the corner, which I literally downloaded a hinge model so that I could put this in place.
It looks good.
So yeah, the hinges are there, like both sides. I actually split the model apart in Blender because it was like one solid model for it, just meant to sit flat. Or if it wasn't, I didn't know how to split it apart after the design. But then that object, if I go to the pivot point, Okay, that's the center of the object, all the children object underneath it, but the pivot for it, for that specific object, is right here. And then I took all the child objects and basically just built it flush right against here. So I was actually building this door inside of the frame it's supposed to insert into.
Hmm.
Oh, and I am missing it. Well, there is some things in here that I don't have. Like for instance, you see over here, like there's like, here's a part of a frame, here's a part of a frame, here's a part of a frame.
Mhm.
Over here, I'm going to have foam insulation in place. So it fits in the corners and completely air seals this one.
That makes sense.
And then sound is going to be coming in from over here, or the air is going to come in from over here, and exit vent will be somewhere on the other side. But yeah, that's the booth that I'm hoping to create.
That'll be amazing when it happens. I can't wait to see this in action, or I guess hear it in action.
Yeah, the sound might be considered too dead. For recording,
I consider this you celebrating having 43 subscribers, and can't wait to see what happens when you hit 1,000 subscribers.
I'm at 49 subscribers now.
That is a large percentile increase. That is amazing.
Yeah, I went up by 21 in the last. I doubled my channel size in the last month.
I want to say there was some help at least with the talk you gave at school. I'm hoping I'm hoping they signed up. Hannah loves your videos.
Yeah, and I am hoping to try to get, I'm kind of hoping to do everything I can to build up the channel until I end up giving the talk at the GDC. And of course, hope it skyrockets even more there. That'd be awesome.
Right, like that's such a prime opportunity. Yeah, like I was even telling people, because I've mentioned, I was like, that amazing talk. Yeah, that guy is going to be at GDC and everything, and this directly correlates with the increasing your growth thing. To go around saying you've given a talk at GDC is an amazing, it looks freaking amazing on a resume in a way. So
yeah, maybe not exactly for the talk I'm giving. Yeah, you should hire me. Why? Because I spoke at the GDC. Why did you? What was the topic on? How to get hired?
That's a proof of concept, though. That is perfect. And people don't need to know the specifics, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, oh, wow, that is so cool. Side note, I don't know if I mentioned, but I actually got the funding to start doing to get the certification training for the certified technical trainer and the professional Unity cert. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to that, but I might pick your brain on things on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, something interesting is all these points on here.
Yeah,
you zoom out and you start getting Moyer patterns in here.
That's cool. That is very cool. I love that. Oh, what was it? There's an interesting fact I just heard on a Tom Scott video. There's one of these, like one of the big companies that they route all the traffic through, internet traffic through. For their security, they needed a completely random number generator. They have a wall of lava lamps that a camera is aimed towards, and it's creating numbers based on how the lava lamps are moving. And then it has other different random sources throughout the world to create a truly random generator. And even if there was another camera that was focused on there trying to get those same lava lamps, they couldn't get that same accuracy or the noise patterns that are a part of the camera. So it is as truly random as possible. I need to send you the video. It is just such a fascinating thing. It actually reminds me of something you would do.
Okay.
Yes.
I was actually thinking immediate reasons why I would not do that, but
what was it? Lava lamp.
I was going to say most of the time people create new random systems. It's actually not that performant or not that random. But that being said, I'm also a person who created my own.
Of course you are.
Yeah, part of it is, well, the thing is that I've seen what visuals or what .NET does in their code for random.
Yeah.
And it was like 20, I don't remember, but it was like a recursive system of doing this. And there was like 20 some repeating calls on it, spending like all sorts of math cycles to give you this random number. So it was actually particularly slow. Now it was years ago, so I might be off on that. And anyway, the number of steps that it was doing, like it was easily over several hundred math equations that it was doing to get that. Now the thing is that, yeah, the random system works. It's good. But if you're talking about gaming, like I was using the random engine and I was doing it for a system I was doing a while ago where I was creating this random 2D terrain system where it was controlling like 10,000 tiles and regenerating the entire world on the fly for how those were supposed to be. So it needed to do that within a single frame. To regenerate a 10,000 tile world, along with randomly designing new cities and putting those cities into with streets having like random sets of like houses, making sure that the person traveling in the game could access them all. When I tried using their random system for it, it was horribly slow, and so it would take like a couple seconds to get a frame done. When it would actually get far enough on the player's move that it would regenerate. But when I replaced it with mine, it wasn't noticeable.
Wow.
It's like 8 lines of binary. I'm not even using like a multiplier in it. No. I am using a multiplier when I'm doing floats, because my stuff was generating a number. It was taking a 32-bit integer and producing it. So it was anywhere from like -2, or I was using an unsigned int. So it was anywhere from 0 to 4 billion. And so if I wanted a float, I would end up converting those into floats and multiplying it back by the maximum number, or dividing it by the max number. I don't remember which one I did. And then I would get a random float. But the speed on that was just incredible. Now, I did find out additionally, like I saw some other videos and found out that there are other people who have done that kind of thing. And I ended up changing my some of the numbers that I put in based on things that I found. But because depending on the number you select to do the binary gate movement through, it ends up kind of, you start to see a pattern. But there are some that prove really well that I haven't been able to find like any kind of pattern or sequence going through it.
Well, oddly enough, with true random, it could show up. There's a small percentile, but that's true random.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this script, I figure I'll just, since I'm actually talking about them, I figure I'll show the code for it. Okay, so on this one, which I'm using Odin. So anyone who's watching this, if you haven't gotten it, go get Odin. This is like the last day it's on sale, and maybe I'll put this video out after. So anyway, but whatever, it's an awesome thing. But I just put button over this, so I get the set metric size. I just multiply it. I just got the measurement between a meter and an inch. And one thing is unparenting something first. Now, there is a notable problem here. This won't work. This code won't work if it's inside of a prefab. If you're doing it to an object that is a child of a prefab. If you try taking your code against something that is a prefab and you say, well, remove it from that object within the scene, Unity doesn't support that. So this idea of unparenting it so that I can change the local scale and make sure that no parent scale applied to it wouldn't work that way. But I'm not using that. These are basic cubes for the most part. And then set name, which just basically takes whatever the post name I have for it and adds it to the actual size. So I get the sizes down to 2 decimal places, and that's the name. Same thing, get metric size, really simple.
That's just super clean.
Yeah, and then URL. Here's this.
I was going to ask how, so even this, is this, so the application.open URL, is that
just Unity
Inspector? It's they actually have that just in Unity?
Yep.
Wow, I never knew that. That's incredible.
Yeah, you can run this inside of just your game. It doesn't need to be only inside of the system anyway. Or it doesn't, it's
Can,
not just IDE.
can you, are we able
So this.
to render a web page? Say if we constructed something using WebGL, um, can we have like a museum or something and have web pages rendered on the wall, so you can have multiple web pages rendered and you can walk through them?
Um, multiple web pages. Yes.
Okay, because I was trying to think of something I would like to do for my class that I'm going to be teaching, and because I want the students to have live web pages. So I was thinking about how to try to make it fun and interactive. So having a web portal where we have all their web pages up, but have it be like a museum where you can walk through and actually see the live web pages. I was wondering how to do that, and you may have helped me greatly by just showing me this.
Yeah, there's one where it uses oh God, which one was it? Okay, forget this one. I'm not gonna combine them because trying to tell it, yeah, can I get the Unity asset for WebGL that puts a web browser in the player? I'm just gonna get rid of the web browser in player. In-app web browser. That was it. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if, well, maybe this isn't the specific one, but some of them, I think it like did the whole Mozilla import of the code and then generates the stuff from there. Where's the actual link to the store item? No, there.
Which, side note, because you suggested it, I might be buying Odin right now as we speak.
Oh my God, I own like 5 seats to it. I do this because I literally, like when I join different teams, I will hand out copies to the people that I work with so that we can just use Odin, because I have spent hours or days working on custom inspectors to get things designed nice. But then with this, it's like, oh yeah, I got that button in there. It's just literally one little attribute right over the top and poof, it's done.
It's gonna be super useful. Yeah, we're working, one of our programmers is working on trying to customize some stuff, and I have a feeling something like Odin will do a world of good for him, but this one's for me right now.
3D web browser. Why are there some really expensive ones? What the? Oh, for Android, for Windows, got it. They're selling it for each one.
Wait, what?
For WebGL, they're selling it one that works nicely inside of WebGL.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting close, but I was actually thinking like you could render it on just like almost as a texture in a 3D environment.
In 2D using it. Yeah, I've seen other ones. There were other ones that did it. Due to limitations, this software has significant limitations compared to the other 3D web view packages. No, I don't want the limitations. I want the other packages. So there was one that I was looking at before. I think I own it. That takes the web browser and it basically just puts it as a render texture. So the texture keeps getting rewritten with it, and you can put that on anything.
That is,
you could apply that to a projector and have the projector shining it at various materials, which I don't know of a functional projector for URP right now. And I wish I did. I think that's supposed to come in like 2022 or something. One of the versions.
I might just go with the regular 3D scene then. But
oh,
still,
there we go.
This is exciting.
2D, which you can try here. Where's the 3D one? Oh,
Better. Whoa, not for that price.
No.
Oh, $20 they say, or 20% they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
Yeah, I don't know. If I come up with a project idea that I want to do with it, I'll probably pick that up. But I would like to see it go on sale first. Like if that goes, well, I've also seen other ones too, but I haven't really had much of a chance to test them. So that is a, oh, wait a second. Let's just go here. My assets. I have to save my assets. Okay. Browser. Minimalist embedded browser. Okay. Yeah, I've had this one for a long time, but yeah, like you can put it onto like bent textures. Or
Yeah,
bent,
yeah, like something like that. Do you know if you can have multiple multiple pages loaded at the same time?
good question. The answer would appear to be yes.
Interesting.
And you're supposed to be able to interact with it. Oh yeah, call Unity from JavaScript and vice versa. It looks like there's a limitation there though.
Hmm.
Should work. Okay, support. This is not supported on WebGL.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, it doesn't specify it, but I'm willing to guess. If they don't specifically call out that it works in WebGL, I just assume it doesn't.
That's yeah, yeah. It's not. It's better not to risk it. Experimental support for Adobe Flash. Fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so this one is probably based on using like the Mozilla framework underneath the hood. Oh, Chromium's codec, so it's probably Chromium based.
Hmm.
Okay, so open YouTube videos. I've got other ones that play YouTube videos in here too, though. And those I was able to play on various textures at random angles and such.
Still good to know. This is a good start. And at least it gives me hope, though I might end up just doing faking it. Well, I know I doubt it was made in Unity, but like VR chat. I think it was VR chat allows you to actually live stream like a webcam. Like you can post a web page in a world that you build, and then you can actually live stream the VR chat space to the portal in like on a web page, so you can see VR chat from a web page. And one of our friends, James, he actually has his web page showing his VR chat space that has that web portal in it. So it's kind of like Inception. Very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, I might.
That's
I
where we
might
need to
have.
be like demoing that with a live stream to YouTube,
Yes.
where it actually runs inside of the program that we're rendering live. So we get like a 20-second lag on there.
Which exciting news. One of my many downloads of Blender has finally finished. I actually went for like all three versions, the zip, the MSI, and the MS, I think it's MISX, just to see which one would come first. The answer is the zip.
Okay. So this one is $12.50 right now.
Uni WebView.
It says it runs on iOS and Android. I didn't see anything about Windows. And everything that they're showing is doing this as full screen.
JavaScript loading local HTML.
But it looked like they were loading up a video page on this as well.
Yeah, I see YouTube and Vimeo here.
Yeah. It makes me worry a little bit, though, that they're mostly just showing HTML, like very simple HTML content.
Yeah.
And they're not showing this as like a texture on something. It almost makes me worry that what this is doing is actually loading the web page.
Yes.
And also applying a link back system, the deep links.
Oh. Yeah, I'm
like, maybe it's not. Maybe this is actually which wrap the native APIs of iOS and Android, link browser into your games without knowing anything about native development. Okay, yeah, this looks like it's just loading up the local browser.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it's full screen. I feel like I got cheated for $12.50.
I was gonna say.
Oh, I did. Oh yeah, I own this one. Okay.
This is why some people need to have power stripped from them.
Yes.
See now. All right, I want to see you. Let's see what you look like.
Okay, yeah. So I have two of them. One of this embedded browser looks good because that's actually running on textures. I'm pretty sure I actually ran the demo for this one too.
See now. Embedded browser. All right.
All right, so that one I'd say is the key to this. It doesn't run on WebGL, which I think is kind of one of the key things I want, and also at the same time a really weird request. I want my web page to show up inside of my Unity rendering inside of a web page. What's so wrong with that?
I mean, I think it explains itself, to be honest.
But then I want to go to that web page and load my game again.
I want to know how many of my scenes can I have that are loaded versions of my scenes that are loaded versions of my other scenes. It's basically the Dolly app of just random WebGL.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, I did find that some of the code is a little bit larger, like this one. This is actually, they have some good code in Odin, like this one. I can take a field, and my God, I used to have this on updates all the time, but to check to see if the value changed.
Oh yeah.
But now it's got this on value changed, and then it calls the method that you're calling here.
Fascinating. I wonder what does it like auto rig a delegate or something, or an event?
No, they're rewriting the entire inspector. So they're writing that field. So every time the inspector gets updated, they already know about it.
Whoa, that's intense.
Yeah. So why not just expand on that feature to give it to us? The next thing is property range. I'm setting like, okay, what range can this be from? And I'm getting renderer count. So I'm actually putting a function in here, or a variable. Renderer count is, wait, where's my renderer count? That's a field in here, but it's not up top. Oh my God, why did I put my code down here?
Oh my God, rookie mistake.
This is embarrassing. Okay, this is where I must express one key line or one key thing in my architectural designs. I do not consider it a bad coding practice to be almost as bad and horrible of coding practices as you want to apply, so long as it is isolated and doesn't affect other classes.
So you can have some shit code in one place as long as the shit code does not shit on your other code.
If it deals with one tiny thing and the class isn't huge, because this is 70 lines of code.
Mm-hmm.
That's not too much, and it doesn't really do all that much. So yeah, I feel fine to put ugly code in here, and that is a practice I generally run by. And it's only when classes need to be talking to each other that I'm seriously putting more effort into making sure that connection stands out and is getting tested. And if a code's purpose is purely architectural, like a locator service, I am writing unit tests around every single line of that.
Nice.
Okay. I'm adding more stuff just because of the fact that this will probably be replayed later on YouTube.
Speaking of, do you find if one were to start studying unit testing, do you feel that unit testing for your Unity game development would be a good way to learn about unit testing in general?
Yes.
Or is it All
Yeah,
right.
unit testing there's differences between what you're going to run into here and what you run into out in for like websites and business applications and services.
Mhm.
Um, but the big thing is that unit tests by themselves, yeah, you're going to be able to do unit tests pretty much the same way, and their unit testing system is really good. It has the additional complexities where you can tell it, okay, this isn't just a unit test to run a function. This is a unit test where I want the scene loaded and I want certain objects there, and then I want it to run a certain number of frames and get results back.
Oh,
So you can do that in Unity as well, but that's not typically anything that I would ever use for a unit test. Here's a general separation of things that I put for a unit test versus what should be tested just by person.
mhm.
If something is so visual in nature that if it ever breaks down, it will be easily identified. Don't worry about writing automation on it. A lot of times putting automation on things that are very visual elements are kind of hard to validate by unit test code anyway.
Yeah.
So unit testing specific methods that are isolated that you can just test that method by itself, that's great. You should
Yeah.
try to get that for most everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you unit testing this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not expect this to be a long life project. This is
Mhm.
something where I just put it together for this. I might pull these scripts out and use them again later. But this was really basic. Oh yeah, and I'm not even using that one. Hide it. I don't have it. Hinge angle. This was the control for the hinges. So I had there's more to understand in Odin, so to be able to do that. Oh my God, I have show and inspect. Oh, that's right. If I have like a proper, I think what was it on value changed or something in this was preventing the angle from actually showing up as a field to work with.
Even with serialized field?
Yeah. Show and inspector basically does the same thing, except show and inspector also works on properties. So I have this property with getters and setters, but I put show and inspector, and now minimum range is actually one of the fields in my project. So let's see, that was over here, and min range is actually a field. It is a property, so I can have code execute every time that I update this.
That is amazing. Can you show me the data tags for the min max range?
Yeah, so for the min max range, since there's technically 4 variables to it, you've got the minimum and maximum that range that it can go to, plus you have the smaller angles.
Mhm.
And oh, looks like my time is just about up. So yeah, let me show you that real quick. But oh yeah, this is it, a vector 2. So for this one, a single field vector 2 for the minimum maximum range. These are the actual values, but then I use values up here. But it also has the option to go get the name or to just enter the name of a function or a property or a field to get the number.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I downloaded Odin. I'll be definitely playing around with it in the future. I love this.
Oh yeah, check this out. So here's this Boolean show setup.
Mm-hmm.
But look at all the other places. There's this command show if. And so it checks the Boolean state of this one. And if it's true, it will show this field. If not, it will hide this field along all the other fields. So they're just gone. All I've got is the angle up at the top. And so when I come back into here, I hit this one, it's all gone. I just got the angle.
People, if you're paying attention, this is what variables are used for. These are the exact purposes.
Yeah. Oh, and since you were asking about test cases, and I happen to have this one open, I figured I would just showcase this one real quick. Editor tools, do I have my tests in here? No. Where did I put my test cases? It's usually good to know, but I'm really sure I have it in this. But now I no longer know. Where's my architecture? Okay, locator. I usually have stuff on this one. There. Okay, now let's find everything that knows about this. We get a right click. Thank you. Okay, find all references. No, I don't need all the references within the same class. Come on, like every class inside this project uses it. Is that all you found?
Should you write a test to be checking for this?
Oh, I wonder if it just loaded this one project alone. No, there's other projects. Assembly C#, that's editor code. RTS editor tool scripts. Oh, maybe I don't actually have any test cases in this one. Okay, yeah, I don't have any test cases in this particular project,
Okay, interesting.
but I dragged over my locator from another project, so.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, at my school, we've been having discussions about different things and possibly implementing a unit testing class. And I wouldn't mind getting a game development class going and then having it coincide with a unit testing class. So one's making and one's testing at the same time.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Just in the business sense in general, there's too many game developers that do not do this. And I say this as I just showed you a section of my code in a video game and had no test cases on it.
And had no idea where to possibly look for if it was. Yeah. I mean, unit testing is such a vital thing, but it doesn't have the same glitz and glamour as being a programmer, so it's not as talked about. But it's also one of the better entryways into the field because unit testing, they're always in demand.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that conversation is still happening. Also, another thing is we have a small area of our computer science program that's being unused, so I want to turn it into a quad with different computers where people can go to study things. And I want to have a corner dedicated to game development stuff, including having an arcade cabinet where there's a custom made game and people can create their own characters and download them into the game and they can fight with them.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do it yet, but I'll find a way. I'm good at that stuff.
Oh, and I can't find. I have a project that I know has it, but I don't think I have it on here. CS20 assets. Maybe this has it. Tests. Oh my God, I've got it. Okay. I found one that has some. Oh yeah, and this is against the locator service. So this is typically what I'm doing inside of this. Like I'm using Unity's, NUnit framework. I guess I'm using NUnit. I'm not using Unity stuff here. Yeah, so in this one, one of the things I adhere to is the AAA method naming, which is not AAA gaming. It's, what was it? Arrange, act, and assert. So you first arrange what you're planning on setting up in it, and then you are acting, you're doing the action that you are expecting to, that you want to test. And then finally, you're asserting what the results of it are supposed to be. And so I assert that the expected value and the actual value are equal. And then give it a really clear explanation as to why it's not. But then the name should also be really clear. So I'm saying typically in this case, the class is it's locator test. I'm testing the locator service. So it matches the name locator. And then on that, I'm using the assign method. So I'm calling out the assign method. I'm testing unit testing assign, where I'm assigning a value and I expect that it will return the same value on get call. So the whole unit test is incredibly clearly defined as to exactly what it does. There is another structure. Like I usually try to avoid helpers, but you always end up with certain complicated sections and it just makes it so much easier. But when I was back doing like web tests, and I would be testing like an entire site in automation, I would end up running, what was it? I would have a system that basically said commands like sign in, and it would pass in like a username and password field. And so I would just have a single function so that when you would actually step through it, it'd be like, go to homepage, sign in with credentials, and then go to user preferences, go to whatever settings page, change password. and send the password and then log out. And then it would be just all like helper.log out, helper.do this, helper.do that. And so when someone actually looked through these test cases, when they're looking through it, they literally see like plain English, main page.login, helper or homepage dot log out or whatever. And it's all there set up in the steps. What was also really nice about it, and this is a horrible mistake on Microsoft's part. One of the things that I almost never forgive them for, and they still do it to this day, and they sit and wonder, why isn't this more successful? They have one of the most powerful testing tools I have ever seen. Now, there are other places that have similar things like SmartBear from Ranorex, but they have this system where it will pay attention to the web page you're on. It will pay attention to the applications you're using. It'll pay attention to you switching from one app to another, and it will record those steps. So you can have someone with no technical ability come in, do a test where they just manually go through the steps, and then they click, okay, then I'm going to sign in and I'm going to do this. So it does that, and then it records those things, and then you can play it back and it will do it. And if something breaks about that, which you can just drag and drop a couple things to say, oh, we'll check to see if this field is actually whatever, has this result in it. And if it does, and it's successful, but otherwise it doesn't. Or if any of the steps along the way are somehow blocked, then it doesn't work. You don't get that from Microsoft unless you pay the $10,000 seat license for the top version of Visual Studio for that person.
Why?
I know. Oh my God. You go to SmartBear or Ranorex, it was like between 1,000 and 2,000 to get that kind of service from them. And what place is going to be spending that on their testers? Like, I mean no offense to that. I was a tester for a while, but I thought that was one of the dumbest things.
This is one of those things, we'll call it a loss leader. If they think their thing is, if it actually costs them 10,000 to make, that could get so many more. Microsoft still has work to do to catch up and make up for like being the .NET framework forever and not playing well with others. This could be a good thing that gets others jumping on board, and they block it off for $10,000.
Yeah, and beyond that, from what I've been checking out on it, it gets less and less support over the years because not very many people use it. And why don't they use it? Because the people who are hired to test, who would have the most value from that, most places don't want to pay a $10,000 gap to give them a testing tool when, oh, hey, well, here's SmartBear for $2,500 or $2,000 or $1,500 or whatever it is. Here's other tools you can use. And then here's another thing that goes beyond it that makes this tool incredibly awesome. It takes that and you can export those tests to C#. You can export those tests to C#. So then it basically builds out each one of those steps into its own function. So you can find the lines, and you can take the lines and it's like, here's how it identified that you were at this page and what application you were using. And here's how it identified which text box you were entering text into. And then here's the command it used to send that text in there. And they've got all that stuff in there. So I was using those tools back like a decade or more ago. So the only reason I had access to them was because I actually got the $10,000 developer license. I was a senior automator, and they gave me the full package on this. And I think it was Wizards of the Coast, and I think they had some nice deal worked out with Microsoft at the time anyway. But I got the full blown package of this, and I was using it there, and that was just incredible. Plus also the times that I was developing at Microsoft, so that actually helped too. But yeah, that was one of the most powerful tools on the planet. And then I could just go in and say, okay, oh, the login tool failed, all my tests that need to sign in are failing. Okay, so I can still sign in, but it does look like there's a difference. So I go back in, I re-record the test, I copy the lines of code out from that C# function for signing in, and I put them back in my function, my helper functions. And now my whole system is just smoothly working. Automation is incredible, except nobody gets to use that tool unless the company is willing to pay that $10,000 expense. Or I think you could get it for like down to $5,000 or something like that. But then they've got like Microsoft partner places that I think they get even better deals, but I don't know.
It sounds like a lot of hoops to jump through at that point. To be in a very specific position just to get a discount on something that should be revolutionizing the automation world.
I know this was this was over a decade ago. Another thing that they had was this MS Test suite that sat on top of it that I could rant for a while. I'll try to keep this one short. They had this suite that would sit on top of it, like before the days of TFS or Team Foundation Service. It was, Team Services or something. I don't remember what they called it, but it had the Team Test Suite. So I could take these test cases that I had sitting in my code that were managed inside of their own repository to store it, and identify the test cases, take the test cases that are just like written out in hand and say, this test case depends on this piece of code. So that automated code of how it recorded it gets tied into the test cases. So it's all reported. And if I make a change to a line of code in here, I can now run every test case that now touches that line of code. And this is the most expensive thing that they have. And they don't, but it's for testers. A lot of places just don't respect testers that much to actually give them that kind of funding for a tool.
I want to know the conversation that was had when deciding on like the cost of this and why they should approach it this way.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind. I don't know, but as you say, it opens up doors for others to do something slightly similar for a lower price and get that money.
And honestly, if they could, all those businesses that are doing testing, they could have been starting to pull this ecosystem in and seeing that whole result. Oh yeah. And here's another layer that I had tied into it before. It would produce the VMs, run this automation, and then if any error happened, if it was considered a high priority one, it would save a snapshot of the virtual machine. So then the developer can bring up the environment, snapshot it at the moment it had the exception, bring in the development tools because they're already on there, and just activate them, debug, it's line by line, exactly what is going wrong there. It was one of the most beautiful automation systems I have ever worked with.
It's gatekeeping genius. It's just that creating something great and then make it. It's not even make it make it for the richest of the rich and XYZ. This is like, you don't know your audience. You don't know who you're aiming for with this.
They also they did one other thing that was one of the dumbest things ever. So on this, you could set up virtual seats where basically you could have a system that sends out acting as if it were 800 users, for instance.
Oh, wow.
So when I was doing this, I would send out, like I was doing site tests, and we would have a load of like 500 to 800 users at the same time, making like duplicate calls or whatever. So I was using real numbers from our F1 test equipment or network equipment to like design this and make mirror copies and basically duplicate certain parts of the tests so that I knew we were hitting the same numbers on our servers. Now, here was the problem. Microsoft wanted you to have a seat license for like every 50 fake test users. So this is literally an API call through a server just to say, make this HTTP request with this post information on it. And that's all it's supposed to do. You go over, and I don't remember, the numbers might not be exact, but you go over like 50 of them, you've got to go get another $5,000 license from them to go up to 100. And I forget what it was, but I was going to need like 20 licenses in order to get that validated. So at that point in time, I actually just I learned everything I needed to do about attributes, and I rewrote my own test framework to do my own test pass.
Oh,
and it worked great. I was getting high performance results out of it. But yeah, the pricing system at that point, you got to question. It's like, this is for, you're putting very high prices on this. And by the time that somebody actually in the company that they're willing to pay for has the skill level to be able to take advantage of that much expense on technology, they got to realize that the licensing cost is going to be like, oh, well, we're going to have you, by the way, you're going to have to buy me like 20 seats of that in order to do this. That we'll just rewrite it. I mean, seriously.
I wonder if it was almost done as a joke, like almost like I'm really starting to see it now. And obviously there are people in one part of the industry controlling this stuff, controlling the value and everything. And it's separate from the people who are actually developing it. How would it feel to be that person creating this amazing technology and not seeing anyone be able to use it because someone is like, we need to hit our numbers. Let's charge like 30 times more than we should, just so if we get one person to do it, we're going to get that bank.
Yeah. Like I love a lot of things about Microsoft, but yeah, that is one thing I can't stand. Now, honestly, I've used so many other systems like Ranorex and there's a bunch of names that I almost don't want to say because they're almost embarrassments to the testing industry. It's like they came out of the Windows 3.1 era in appearance and just never upgraded. And their mindset is about as difficult as a large scale Windows 3.1 application might be. Oh, man. But yeah, they have, or at least had, the best tool. I haven't really focused on this in like at least 7 years for doing that kind of stuff. But
they've tried. I feel like they've been changing their tune a little bit over the past couple of years. So I'm just really curious. I wonder if they're so bold as to put it in Azure. Do you remember what was the name of it?
Visual Studio Test Suite. Software testing for professionals.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we've got all this stuff. So,
Run,
oh yeah, you can
recording,
still
creating,
put all these test cases in here where you put them and then you can execute them. Now, I don't know if these ones are actually tied in. Oh yeah, God, I remember those graphics. This was it. You create the test cases, it's actually tied in. You can have it execute. You can have it spit out code, run, record, and create new tests. So it was recording the stuff. It's got the capabilities there. It gets tied into everything at that point. So you push a new commit in your code, and it automatically runs all of these test cases against it, like as you would normally expect, except you can do that by having it load a VM where it has all of the other like server setup stuff as like a local copy of SQL Server, local copy of whatever API or web setup you need. And then you've got your API server is the one you're testing or something like that. It just loads it up. It's got everything in there.
It's awesome.
Or even have it load. I've never tested this, have it loading up with multiple VMs. But honestly, at that point, it kind of feels like just having a couple stable VMs and then you just run something manually against them.
I'm curious, are you looking at the subscription model? I'm trying to tell exactly what dictates what features here. It is, you're actually right there. You're right there by it.
Okay, so testing tools. So with testing tools, look at this. All this stuff is nothing. Oh, unless you're going to enterprise. And then, okay, yeah, you get like one dot out of it. Oh, no, here's the rest. You get live. You get unit testing on all of them. Live unit testing, the recording tools, they are not here.
All right, there's I'm pasting it. This is something oddly specific here. Oh,
and you want to know another one? Here's another one for Microsoft's decision making on this pricing. My apologies, Microsoft. You're awesome in many cases, but not this one. The Visual Studio Test Professional. The Visual Studio Test Professional, the one that you get to get all of these awesome, wonderful testing tools, does not include the test recorder.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead and get this one. This is your testing one to get all that cool testing stuff. No, sorry. You need to get the enterprise one. That the test professional one, that doesn't have our best testing stuff. Why would you think that? No, it's in the enterprise. You have to get the enterprise.
Oh.
Even if I were still working at Microsoft, which I left there a few months ago, I would not.
You'd still be ranting about this.
Yeah, I would still be saying this. I brought up the same stuff inside of Microsoft there.
They need to hear it. I don't think it's going to change anything, but I think they need to hear it.
Yeah, I had my own issues with them for the longest time. I have another set of rants that I would give against Microsoft and reasons why I would recommend to places not to use a lot of their services. But I'm going to skip all those. I really like them, but they've got a few key problems that I would be embarrassed to recommend to someone on the chance that they would run into problems and then ask me if I knew about it. And I would have to say yes.
Is this being dealt with? Has it been known for a long time?
Oh my God, it's been known forever, since like 1999. And they still just keep pushing this stuff.
I mean, I'm still getting errors, or if I look it up, it's like I'll find like a Stack Overflow from like 12 years ago, or not 12 years ago, but like from years ago. And it'll be like, oh yeah, this was an issue even like 10 years before then.
Yeah, like logins. Until I think like maybe 2 years ago, I'm not positive on it, but I think until about 2 years ago, you had to have 2 separate accounts with Microsoft in order to get your MSDN.
What? Why?
So you have to have a domain. Well, I mean, you could just buy it and get the stuff, but there's ways to do it without it. But so I had like an Office 365 account with them.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot manage your MSDN subscription with it. You had to go get a Microsoft account, which is lovely on the terminology, because, oh, your Office 365 account isn't a Microsoft account. You have to go to Microsoft and get a free Microsoft account that you can manage your MSDN, which gives you access to use all your new Office 365 stuff. Oh, yeah, and they can be the exact same email address. So same email address for the login. And so in case you get confused while trying to log in and manage this stuff, that's okay. Everyone probably does.
What are the 2 different sectors at war with one another? So they're making like the kids choose parents. Like, this is really weird. Why would you?
They've had this out forever. Oh my God. So back in like 99, I was using, they had this thing for getting a free DNS server management and free mail server. So basically I was using live.com back when it was just live.com. And I had my own server, like I had a website with server stuff on it. And then I had my email going through using Microsoft stuff for it. So it was kind of this free service. It was really nice. And then they ended up cutting that one and replacing it. I don't think it was with Office 365 yet, but it was with something else. And so I had to pay a license cost at that point. And I was like, okay, well, the services worked really nice. I love their email system for when I'm doing web-based stuff. Because like back in like early 2000, like web-based email kind of sucked, but Live did a good job. So I ended up paying the service on it, but then I had to pay for their domain service on top of that. So then I had all my stuff going through them, but then that didn't count as a Microsoft account anymore. And so now I had to have 2 accounts with the same name since then. So that they, because that's what it was. It was both accounts using it. I had the Microsoft account with this, I had that one, and that was my business account. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, well, yeah, you can do this with your personal account. And a lot of businesses that I've worked for, they have me go out and use my personal account for signing up the MSDN. because
What,
it's just
really?
easier that way. They could have me, like, I could make a personal account on that matches the same company email, but it was just easier just to use my existing one. So their licensing system basically almost forces a lot of businesses to say, oh yeah, you want your your employees to have MSDN licenses. Okay, that's great. Give them to this, but you have to give it to their personal email accounts. Or you could go through the steps and actually create those yourself, but they can take control of that at that point. And since they're just Microsoft's account, not domain accounts. Anyway, I think they've kind of resolved some of that, but there's still systems where only one system supports a Microsoft account, one system supports this, and you have, depending on what you want to do, you have to use either your Microsoft or your domain account.
This shouldn't be something that even has to be talked about to be resolved. This, like, just speaking out loud sounds like such a horrible idea that's trying to push people away from utilizing it. And the only reason people have to use it is because they have to use it. But
Yeah.
why make anyone jump through all these hoops? Why not make it as simple as possible? Why shut down productivity on some level for all this asinine, like, signing up with all this random jib jab?
I'm glad you asked. Because back in the past, they decided, oh, well, let's also get onto this single sign-on business like Google has. I'm not sure that that's a reason or what the timeline order of that was, but they created it as basically a single sign-on system so people could do that single sign-on, but they wanted to make sure that people would still be able to use their original system. So they basically created two systems and tied them together.
Yeah.
And then they could never get one fully working happily enough that they would just say, okay, well, let's just kill all the other ones now. So they kept all the other ones and they still have this, and it was never fully integrated. Same thing with like the domain system. I think it's a lot closer now. Like they have a lot more using it now since they moved on to Azure. But I still saw issues like 2 years ago on this, and it was with multiple logins having to deal with stuff.
Yeah.
I just bought the Visual Studio Professional subscription from them. And I had to go through probably about 2 days of hoops to try to get all the Azure stuff set up to get it to work right, just to get the subscription so I could download Visual Studio and put it on my computer. And I didn't want to I could have bought the seat license that is just a permanent lifetime license, but I wanted the subscription so that because I knew 2022 was coming out like in a few months when I got it. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay for a 2019 subscription right now when 2022 is coming out then, but I still wanted that Pro. I wanted some of the features on Pro for a project or on Enterprise.
Dare I ask, what is the cost of a lifetime seat?
Well, a lifetime seat, you're getting a lifetime seat as soon as you buy the 1 year MSDN subscription, because that's the price you're paying, like $6,000 for the enterprise version. That's
okay.
Now, at the end of it, you do get to keep that version of Visual Studio that you were at, but the next year when they come out with another one, you don't get the upgrade.
Gotcha.
Back when I did this, they also have, if you're looking to get this stuff, I mean, educational, you can, as long as you have an EDU email address, you can get a lot of this stuff for free anyway. But there's also another thing where you can do a business account, and they have a startup thing, and they change its name every time now and then. But like when I got on it before, it was like BizSpark, but then they applied like 3 years. I think it was somewhere between like 1 and 3 years of professional services. Wow. Where I would get Azure. I would get like $200 worth of Azure licenses every month, or Azure credits every month, so I could use some of their good stuff. And then I would get the top version of Visual Studio and get like 10 seats of it. I would get every version of Windows going back, all of like SQL Server data licenses. And when it ended at the end of the year, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to have to give up my licenses now. They're like, well, you get to keep the Visual Studio license. And if you can show us some of these SQL servers and other things that you're using, we'll let you keep the licensing for them.
Whoa.
And basically just making a list of like some of the things that you used. And so I just got to keep licenses, but that was back in like, oh God, the last time I did that was probably like 5 or 7 years ago. And so the licenses I had from that are, even though I can still use some of them, they're not that useful anymore.
No, no. But still, that's
Anyway, I
fascinating.
do have to get going.
You do your thing. Good talk. We'll talk again soon because I would like to discuss that whole diegetic UI talk I
Oh
have.
my God, we never got to that. That is so
Yeah, no problem. That's gonna be a fun one. But you showed me your mock-up in Unity, and I was like, I love that you can do stuff like that. And that's just such a great prototype. And the unit testing was extremely timely to conversations we're having. So I thank you for showing me that too.
Yeah, if you want to do another talk on that later, I can go into some more detail on some of the structures that were incredibly valuable in testing. But
I
anyway,
think we'll, as always, have much to talk about in the future.
okay. All right. I'll
You
talk
good,
to you
dude?
later.
Later.